Let's get into some things, child. We got some stuff to talk about today, honey. We got some stuff to talk about. Hit that like button. If you are new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We have a great time over here. You meant what you said when you said it. Really be expect, because I'll be understanding y'all sometimes. And when y'all know when I say y'all, you know I'm talking about y'all. I'm talking about y'all. Convince me that all these people that got something to say have been actively involved in the political process in their world. I don't believe it. You ain't gonna convince me. I know y'all love me. What's up, you guys? Welcome back. Child, I've been live all day. I feel like, hey. So we can really get into this Latrice Rogers situation. We just got finished doing on my Belle Collective review. I just got finished saying how Latrice is keeping us away from the real story, how she's so busy stirring the pot with Leticia and everything else that she is, keeping us from what's really going on. And no sooner, like I literally had just hit the end button on my live when I got this information. Shout out to Millie Chan, because I saw Millie Chan's video, which gave me the information. And then y'all know my girl Tracy pulled the lawsuit. So we're about to read the lawsuit. And then I have another article to read you guys about some other stuff that's going on as it relates to Latrice and Taste and the city of Jackson. But real quick, I have an unboxing real quick. This came from Lexi. If you guys went to Books and Bourbon, you guys met Lexi in person. Lexi donated a lot of gifts to us. We walked away with some really nice gifts. Everybody won. We had some Labubu's, and we had some, I think Tracy got like a Hello Kitty makeup case and stuff like that. So we had some really, really, really cute stuff. Is Chuck blocked on the other channel? Okay, I'm gonna have to check that. Remind me to check that when we get off of here. So real quick, so she had ordered this before Books and Bourbon, but it didn't come in time. So I just got it in the mail Saturday. So, oh, this is so cute. Look, you guys. That's my government name, but it's like a paperweight. It says history teacher, and it's got my name. And it's Slytherin, because y'all know I'm team Slytherin. I ain't no need me covering it now. I already showed y'all. But I guess that's me with my blonde bob. That's cute. Okay, thank you so much, Lexi. Mwah. I ain't gonna take it to work, because if they steal it or if they break it. So that's gonna sit on my desk here at home. But thank you so much, boo. I appreciate you. DGB, if you hit me up on Instagram, I'll give you, email me, I'll give you an address. Okay. So let's get into it. So Latrice Rogers is being sued. Okay. Latrice Rogers, we're on both channels. So Latrice Rogers is being sued. Thank you, Shakira. If you don't watch Belle Collective, Latrice is one of the members of Belle Collective, one of the Bells on Belle Collective, and she is being sued. So let's pull up this lawsuit. Y'all know what we about to do. We about to read it. And then, like I said, I have another article. And as always, Tracy pulled this lawsuit for me. If you guys want to tip Tracy, she's not going to give y'all her Cash App, but I got her Cash App. So if y'all want to tip Tracy for all these wonderful lawsuits that she be giving us, y'all make sure. I'm going to send Tracy a tip myself today. I've been meaning to send it for a while, but I'm going to send it today myself. But if y'all want to tip Tracy, send it to me and I'll make sure I forward it over. But let's pull this up. Yeah, Chuck, I didn't realize if you got blocked, I'm sure it was by accident. Because I know I did. I mean, obviously I didn't do it. Thank you, Tracy. All right, so let's make this bigger and let's read through this lawsuit. First of all, this lawsuit is 27 pages long, so I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's good or bad. Y'all know we done seen some long lawsuits. We done seen some short lawsuits. One doesn't equal the other. I think so. This lawsuit is coming. It's in the United States District Court for the Southern District of Mississippi Northern Division. Now, this case, hold on. All right. Now, this case, it is Madison Carter versus Taste Bar and Grill LLC. Now, it doesn't have Latrice Rogers' name or her husband's name, but we know that they are the owners and proprietors of Taste Bar and Grill LLC down in Jackson, Mississippi. Madison Carter is their former bar manager. We know that on the show, Selena was supposed to get that job, and then she didn't end up not taking that job. So it says that there's a jury trial demanded. This is a complaint, civil action. So this is a civil case, okay? This is a civil case. So here are the parties. You see plaintiff, Madison Carter, defendant, Taste Bar and Grill LLC, and it says the registered agent is Latrice Rogers. So her husband's name is not even on it. So Cliff don't own the bar, y'all. Cliff name not on this. It say Latrice Rogers, and then it has her. Oh, I don't want to put her address up there. Sorry, y'all. Hold on. Let me scroll down. So here are the statement of the facts, because that's what we care about, honey. We care about the statement of facts, honey. Sorry. Okay. Plaintiff is a 24-year-old female resident of Rankin County, Mississippi. She was hired on June the 3rd of 2024 as a bar manager at Taste Bar and Grill, LLC. Taste is owned by Clifton and Latrice Rogers. But that's interesting that her name is the only one on the LLC, I guess, but I don't know. Around the end of May of 2024, Mr. and Mrs. Rogers offered plaintiff employment as the bar manager. Ms. Rogers and plaintiff agreed that Mr. Carter would be paid. I think that's supposed to say Miss Carter, but okay. Miss Carter would be paid $20 per hour and will receive a bonus for designing the drink menu, hiring all bartenders. Why you make that 2 words? And training the waitstaff. Now listen, y'all know I be trying not to do this with this stuff. Why they make bartenders 2 words? Bartender is 1 word, ma'am. Moving right along. Maybe it's just a typo. On August the 31st of 2024, plaintiff worked at an event catered by the defendants for the Rogers family reunion. One of Clifton Rogers' cousins, Antonio Rogers, approached the plaintiff and began chatting with her. Later in the evening, Mr. Antonio Rogers placed his arm around the plaintiff's waist. He then showed her 2 blue pills and asked her if she wanted to take one. The plaintiff responded no, and that she already takes medicine prescribed by her doctor. Mr. Antonio Rogers then said, "Do you want one of the X pills?" And then they put in parentheses reference to ecstasy or MDMA. Plaintiff declined and went back behind the bar to make a few drinks. A few minutes later, Mr. Rogers stood very close to the plaintiff and quickly put one of the pills in her mouth. Huh? Okay. He then instructed her to swallow the pill and meet him in the bathroom in 30 minutes. The plaintiff responded by removing his arm from around her waist and quickly walked away. She took the pill out of her mouth. Plaintiff then went to the kitchen manager, Chef T, that name unknown, handed her the blue pill and explained to her what had just happened. Chef T escorted the plaintiff to the bathroom to wash her mouth out, and then they went together to report what happened to Mr. Clifton Rogers and Miss Latrice Rogers. When the plaintiff explained what had happened to the Rogers, Cliff Rogers seemed either to not understand or not to hear what she was saying, i.e., he was intoxicated. Miss Rogers, however, heard and understood, and she responded by telling the plaintiff that she did the right thing to notify her and Cliff about it. A few minutes later, Mr. Rogers instructed Antonio Rogers to leave the party. About 30 minutes later, Mr. Rogers approached the plaintiff and demanded the plaintiff explain again what happened. Plaintiff again explained to Mr. Rogers what happened previously, i.e., we know. At that point, Mr. Rogers became heated and yelled that the plaintiff should have told him and not Latrice about the incident. Huh? After that, the party ended. What? This is crazy. On September the 6th of 2024, Mr. Rogers emailed the plaintiff and wrote, after careful consideration, we have made the decision to terminate your position as bar manager at Taste Bar and Grill effective immediately. I want you to know this decision was not made lightly. It comes after some concerning incidents that we've discussed previously. In particular, there was an incident where you accused a customer of drugging you, which after reviewing the security footage, I could not find any proof. On September the 10th of 2024, plaintiff went to see Mr. Clifton Rogers in person. Plaintiff began by asking him why he fired her for notifying him that his cousin had attempted to drug and potentially sexually assault her. Mr. Rogers responded by saying he didn't care and that it was drama. Mr. Rogers then argued that he never stated the plaintiff was fired. She got a letter, sir. Plaintiff responded by reminding Mr. Rogers that he told her she was terminated in writing in the email that he had sent her the previous day. Mr. Rogers then became heated and stated that the plaintiff was fired and that he did not care if she was drugged or not. This is crazy. Wait a minute. I need to pause for a second and come to the chat. What? Yeah, the cousin. Right, I'm with you, Tracy. I would have called the police. Forget that. He would have been, you're right. I'd have called the police. That's crazy as hell. All right, let's keep reading, honey. Let's keep going. Okay. Mr. Rogers then became, I said that. On October the 18th of 2024, the plaintiff filed an EEOC charge for sexual discrimination, sexual harassment, and retaliation. On February the 28th of 2025, in response to the plaintiff's charge, Taste Bar and Grill submitted a petition statement to the EEOC. In their position statement, Latrice and Clifton allege. Okay. Wait a minute. Hold on, let me read this. The Bar Grill's position statement alleges that Latrice and Clifton Rogers are the owners of Taste Bar and Grill, located in Jackson, Mississippi. Taste Bar and Grill consists of a cigar bar, a lounge, and a restaurant. It was not in operation during CP's employment, but it was in the startup phase when she and a few other employees were hired to begin preparation to open the bar. Notably, Taste only had 2 employees for several months until rising to 9 employees towards the end of August. CP was terminated. I thought her name was something else. Who is CP? I thought her name was Marlo. Okay. CP was terminated on September the 8th of 2024 before Taste opened in the later part of September 2024. Plaintiff contends that this allegation falsely mischaracterized significant events that occurred. Plaintiff concedes that when she was first hired, Bar Grill had not yet opened for official business. She contends that it is patently false, however, that there were only 9 employees employed when she was terminated on September the 8th of 2024, as alleged. On August the 25th of 2024, Mr. Rogers texted the plaintiff and wrote, "How many bar attended you got hired?" Girl! Now that is a quote. So maybe she's quoting exactly what he texted her. Because it says, quote, "How many bar attended you got hired?" End quote. So that must be what he actually texted her. Although I should have kept reading. Although the wording is awkward, Mr. Rogers was essentially asking how many bartenders have you hired? Girl, if you don't stop putting a space between bar and tender, it is one word. In response to this text, the plaintiff texted 12 so far. Moreover, the plaintiff contends that she personally hired around 20 employees who participated in 2 4-hour training sessions and were required to clock in and out of those sessions. Now, there's a reason why they're saying that they had less than 7 employees when it comes to this EEOC complaint. There's a legal reason why. So that's why she's saying no, they have more than 7 employees. They trying to, those training sessions occurred on August the 28th, 2024, primarily focused on bartenders. On August 29th of 2024, primarily focused on servers, which were notably before the Rogers reunion party on August the 31st, and were certainly prior to the date the plaintiff was terminated. Taste Bar and Grill's position statement alleges that the bar manager, an assistant bar manager, and a bartender were hourly employees brought on to set up the bar menu before opening the bar. CP was engaged to assist with the opening of the Taste Bar and Grill and specifically get the bar open and operating. At that time, Mr. and Mrs. Rogers were still in the process of acquiring permits and putting things in place for the planned opening. Taste hired its first employees, a chef and a sous chef. In early 2024, they added CP along with 6 other individuals to prepare the bar for the restaurant's opening. 6 other hourly employees were brought on, 1 to serve as general manager and the remaining 5 to set up the kitchen and food menu for the restaurant. All were at-will employees. During the charging party's employment, CP means charging party, okay. During charging party's employment and at the time of her discharge, Taste had a maximum of 9 employees. Since September the 11th of 2024, Taste has had over 15 employees. However, at no time during 2023 or 2024 did Taste meet the 15 employee threshold to qualify as an employer under Title VII. So that's what that's about. Okay. For purposes of the Title VII, an employer is defined as a person who has 15 or more employees for each working day in each of 24 or more calendar weeks in the current or preceding calendar year. Prior to and through that time, charging party discharged that Taste Bar and Grill had maximum of 9 employees, each of whom were brought on board to assist with setting up the restaurant and bar. While Taste Bar and Grill eventually hired more than 15 employees for its opening on September the 30th, Taste did not employ 15 or more employees for each working day. Okay. Taste Bar and Grill was not an employer under Title VII in 2023 or 2024, and Title VII does not apply to their employment. As stated above, plaintiff contends this allegation is false. On August the 25th of 2024, Mr. Rogers texted the plaintiff and wrote, okay, hold on. We already read this. Okay, it's a lot of typos in here, CP. Okay. Taste Bar and Grill's position alleges that CP's complaints spring from her acting as a bartender at a private event. She was not working for Taste at this event. The Rogers family reunion was held on August the 31st of 2024 through September the 1st of 2024. Members of the Rogers family organized the reunion and wanted to have bartenders and cooks. Mr. and Mrs. Rogers offered their building space, which was not yet open to the public, to their family for the reunion. The second day of the reunion was a picnic and another private property owned by Mr. and Mrs. Rogers. Taste did not cater the reunion, nor did Taste employ bartenders or cooks to work the reunion. Rather, the Rogers asked one of the bartenders and one cook if they wanted to make some extra money, and they wanted to do so. The bartender was to make tips, and the cook was to be paid by the Rogers family. Neither were paid hourly wages by or through Taste, as they were not working as employees of Taste during the reunion. The private event provided only an opportunity for them to make some money as a side hustle if they chose to do so. It was voluntary and was not a Taste event, nor was it paid for by Taste, notably. CP showed up for the reunion and bartended alongside another bartender, and on the first day of the reunion, the two of them served and collected tips from guests. On the second day of the reunion, the two purchased and served beverages themselves to reunion guests and kept whatever money they made. As the reunion was a private affair, the Rogers family and CP were not acting as an employee of Taste during the reunion. CP was not an employee covered by Title VII during the claimed events of August the 31st and or September the 1st, because CP was not an employee covered by Title VI of her charge, and her charge should be dismissed. Whew, that's a lot of words to say. She wasn't working for us at the time. Lord have mercy. Okay. No, CP is charging that's the word for the plaintiff, charging person, the charging person. They're using CP instead of her name. The person who brought the lawsuit. Okay. Plaintiff contends that this allegation is full of falsehood, and its conclusion that the plaintiff was not an employee covered by Title VII is false as well. As already stated, there were over 15 employees hired by TBG prior to the date of the reunion. As visual evidence and personal accounts can attest, it was evident to all in attendance on August the 31st at that event being held at the Bar and Grill that in that regard, it was a Taste event, although it had not officially opened yet. Attendees at the event were required to pay for their meals at the Bar and Grill, i.e., it was not free. The food served to the attendees was Bar and Grill food, and the money earned by the event went to the Bar and Grill. The allegation that the plaintiff was not asked but merely showed up at the event is false. Plaintiff was instructed to work at the event. Moreover, it is false that the plaintiff and Miss Anna Marie, that's the other bartender, merely worked for tips, as alleged. Both plaintiff and the other bartender clocked in and were paid their usual hourly wage and their time worked at the event of August the 31st of 2024. As is common, they were paid an hourly wage, and as bartenders, they were allowed to receive tips as well. See, so there's somebody lying, and this should be real easy to clear up. Girl, did you get a paycheck? Did you get a paycheck for the dates of the reunion? That should clear it up real easily. If you said you were required to clock in and clock out, where them payroll records? Where are those payroll records? Okay? Real easy. Real easy to clear that part up. The Bar and Grill's position statement alleges that, I'm going to just say the plaintiff, asserts in her charge that she was acting as a bartender for a private event when a guest who she claims was a cousin of Mr. Rogers offered her drugs with the intention of seducing her. The plaintiff names the cousin actually put a pill which she believed to be ecstasy in her mouth. She claims that she did not swallow the pill, but instead reported it to the chef and then reported the incident to Mr. and Mrs. Rogers. Mr. Rogers immediately confronted the cousin, and put the cousin in air quotes, whom he did not know, and told him to leave the premises, which he did. The plaintiff concedes this allegation is partially true, yet it omits relevant context. As explained above, Mr. Rogers' cousins, Antonio Rogers, approached the plaintiff and began chatting with her. Later in the okay, we read all of this. She must have wrote this herself, y'all, because this is okay. She's now repeating the whole story again. We got the story. We don't need you to repeat it again, boo. Okay. She literally just cut and pasted the whole story again. Hold on. That's why this thing is so long, because you got redundant stuff in here. You saying the same stuff over and over and over again. Okay. The Bar and Grill's position statement alleges that later, Mr. and Mrs. Rogers heard her, the plaintiff, being very loud, yelling and screaming in the parking lot about the incident. This drew attention from other guests. Mr. and Mrs. Rogers heard from others as the reunion that CP was referring to some reunion guests as broke because she apparently believed that they were not tipping her enough. The Rogers were also heard and were told of other rude and loud comments made by CP as to what CP wanted to do to someone herself. Plaintiff contends this allegation is false. She adamantly denies that she displayed any loud behavior or yelled or screamed in the parking lot as alleged. Plaintiff contends that it was Miss Anna Marie, not the plaintiff, who made the comment, and the guests were broke, apparently because they were not tipping as much as she wished they would. Plaintiff contends she was not inclined to express frustration about the tips because she knew she was already being paid for her time. I like how you work that in there. I like how you work that in there, girl. Like, I was getting paid anyway. Plaintiff further denies that she at any point made any rude or lewd comments about doing something to someone, as alleged. The Bar and Grill statement alleges that the plaintiff was terminated because of her behavior at the family reunion. However, it was not the plaintiff voicing a complaint about the guest that convinced Mr. and Mrs. Rogers that they did not want her to be the bartender at their planned upscale bar and restaurant, but the plaintiff's inappropriate comments and loud, crude behavior during the family reunion. The plaintiff was also observed drinking and reportedly smoking marijuana at the reunion, and on one occasion had become physical with Mr. Rogers by pushing him about 6 feet from behind the bar with an attitude. Plaintiff contends that this allegation is false and disingenuous. As already stated, Plaintiff contends she was told by Mr. Rogers that she was welcome to drink moderately, and she concedes that she drank 2 alcoholic drinks during the event. A lot of bartenders drink while they're working. This did not lead in any way, however, to any of the negative behaviors alleged above. Plaintiff adamantly contends that the allegation that she smoked marijuana at the event is patently false. Similarly, she denies pushing Mr. Rogers from behind the bar. There was no one incident during the event where Mr. Rogers, who was obviously quite intoxicated at the time, went behind the bar where the plaintiff was, and the plaintiff had to maneuver around him to continue working, but she never pushed him or showed attitude as alleged. Notably, the plaintiff asserts that she is a petite woman and Mr. Rogers is a tall and large man. It would be nearly impossible for her to physically, child, it ain't impossible to push somebody now. But she said it was impossible for her to push him 6 feet, even if she had tried, which she did not. Taste Bar and Grill also alleged that the Rogers questioned the plaintiff's behavior, that if she behaved as she did at the private event with family members, how could she be trusted to be a good representation of Taste when it opened? Simply put, they found her behavior did not meet the standards they expected of Taste bar manager and soon-to-be restaurant bar. For these reasons, on September the 8th of 2024, she was terminated as her behavior did not align with their expectations. Okay, a lot of this stuff is so redundant, y'all. It is noteworthy that none of the false allegations made were listed in the termination letter that she received on September the 8th of 2024. Rather, in the letter, it was referenced some concerning incidents that we've discussed previously. In particular, there was an incident where you accused a customer of drugging you, which you, after review of the security footage, we do not find any proof. Child. Right. That's DB. DB, you bring up a good point. How can she be terminated for an event that you claim she wasn't being hired for, that she was working for tips? She was working, but they saying that they didn't like the way she behaved, and that's why they decide to What you mean she's saying that the story is different? It was literally the exact same wording. She's saying they omitted things. Child, Tracy, it looked like it was the exact same story. They saying the story didn't happen. She's saying it did happen, child. Okay. The above allegations attempt to turn the spotlight of disapproval onto the plaintiff is outrageously disingenuous and utter projection. Plaintiff was an employee of the Bar and Grill under Title VII. She reported sexual harassment at a Bar and Grill function, and she was subsequently retaliated against and terminated. Plaintiff further contends that there was a significant number of work hours, both regular weekly work hours and overtime hours, for which she was never paid. Oh, she also saying they didn't pay her. So count 1, violation of the Fair Labor Standards Act. Count 2, violation of Title VII, retaliation. Count 3, violation of Title VII, sexual discrimination. Count 4, violation of Title VII, sexual harassment. Count 5, tort of outrage, intentional infliction of emotional distress. And then that's the relief they want. This say that this was an attorney submitted this. Y'all need to get some better software because, baby, that had a lot of typos and stuff in it. Y'all need to do a better job of proofreading. Okay, so this is her documents, charge of discrimination. This is where she's writing out her statement. Okay. Okay. Okay, it looks like her EEOC complaint was dismissed. I'm not surprised. EEOC complaints, a lot of them, more of them are dismissed than they take up. A lot of people don't realize that. A lot of times what the EEOC will do is they'll deny the case, and then but they'll give you a right to sue letter. So basically, and that's what she has right here. They gave her a right to sue letter. So basically they're saying, listen, what happened to you doesn't meet the standard for the EEOC to take up the complaint, but we acknowledge that you have enough here that you have a right to sue. And in some states, you have to have a right to sue letter. You have to go through the EEOC first before you can sue for these in some states. I know I went through that when I worked at the union. These are some of the things. So you have to go through the EEOC. And again, a lot of times the EEOC does not take up these cases. They turn away way more cases than they take. But then they'll give you a right to sue letter, which says, listen, you can go get you an attorney and you can go sue these people yourself, but we're not going to do it for you. Basically, the EEOC just saves you having to get an attorney, you know. So that is the lawsuit. Now that was filed. Oh, wait a minute. Let me check the date. I forgot to check the date when this was filed. Hold on. When was this? Oh, shoot. Hold on. This was filed August the 15th. So this was filed back in August, okay? Now, let's look at this article that I found where it looks like the neighborhood is having some issues with Taste Bar and Grill. Now, first of all, they had to change their name. That's the first thing. They had to change their damn name, okay? Okay. So now it's called Fondren Bar Restaurant. Because I think Taste was already owned and they got sued or something like that. So here is this article. I'm going to share it with you guys and we're going to read through it together. We're going to read it together. This is coming from Mississippi Today. And this is, again, shout out to Millie Chan because she dropped this nugget on her. You know, Millie Chan does those quick minute videos. So she dropped this nugget on the video she did today. So this article is dated October the 23rd. So this is from Thursday. So this is very recent. Very recent. So you're not going to see any of this. You're not going to see any of this on this season because all of this looks like happened after this season filmed. But I found out that they can start filming for the next season of Belle Collective in the next couple of weeks. So if Leticia and Marie are smart, they're gonna slap Latrice all upside the head with all of this. They better pull a Bronwyn on her, and they better pull that lawsuit and be like, so girl, what's up with this lawsuit? What's going on down to the Taste? If they smart, all them tears you was crying in this week's episode, Leticia, you better turn it. You better turn them tears. And you better pull this information. You better slap her upside the head with it. When y'all start filming, I don't literally mean hit her, but y'all know what I mean. Okay. So let me read this article, you guys. So it says, during a standing room only meeting in downtown Jackson, Latrice Rogers, the entrepreneur known for her role on the Oprah Winfrey Network show, reality show, The Belle Collective, read aloud the email addresses of residents who have complained about her one-year-old restaurant, Fondren Taste Bar and Grill. In an attempt to clear the air, Rogers said she'd reached out to each one of them. Upon hearing her email, Jennifer Bond, an architecture historian who lives down the street from Taste in an otherwise sleepy North Fondren neighborhood off Meadowbrook Road, spoke up. She said, "That's me." And she said, "I've never received an email." Treese, you sitting there lying about reaching out to them people. "But I have it here," Rogers insisted, as other residents began to say that they too had not heard from her. She said, "I literally have it here." Residents in close proximity to Taste have complained for months that the establishment, which many of them refer to as a nightclub, despite Rogers' insistence that it is a bar and restaurant, had disturbed their quality of life with loud music and traffic. At issue Wednesday was Taste's proposal to build 9 residential units, which it hoped to use as Airbnbs on top of its existing restaurant in a section of Fondren, historically home to offices, convenience stores, and fast food chains. The units are part of Rogers' plan to invest in Northern Jackson, and it began when she opened a beauty supply store in 2022 after owning a beauty business in the area for more than a decade. Quote, "We're not going to invest in a neighborhood just to destroy it," end quote, she told Mississippi Today. To open Airbnbs, the sitting zoning administrator, Easter Ainsworth, had recommended Taste pursue rezoning with this white brick restaurant, one of the few newly redone commercial buildings in this part of Fondren, from commercial to mixed-use development. The proposal rankled residents from otherwise low-key neighborhood. 6 people, including Bond, spoke in opposition to what she called a de facto entertainment district with music that is too loud and patrons who park illegally and drive recklessly. "This has been the most stressful year of my life. Every weekend has been taken away from us," she said. "We cannot enjoy the peace of our household that has happened without any due process from our neighbors." After about an hour of discussions, the planning board overwhelmingly voted to recommend denying the rezoning. The issue will eventually go before the city council, which has the final say on whether or not to grant Taste's request. "Thank you for your investment in the city," said Michael Booker, the planning chairman who represents Ward 2, and voted against the measure, as Rogers and her attorneys walked out of the room. As they exited, they vowed aloud to build hotel rooms instead. Terrence Harris, an attorney who spoke on behalf of Rogers, told the planning board that he thought the above hotel would be permitted under the restaurant's existing zoning classification, so Taste could pursue its goal of building the units even if the board nixed this Airbnb apartment idea. That would be well within the requirements of the zoning, so it's tomato, chocolate, what? However you want to say it, it's the exact same thing, he said. Harris added that he believed residents' opposition to Taste's proposal had absolutely nothing to do with a second-floor residential units, but rather a mistaken belief that Taste operates as a nightclub when it is in fact a bar and restaurant. "These aren't fly-by-night business folks," he said. "These are business folks with multi-million-dollar enterprises who have spent over $1 million in that space. This is not a nightclub. That's not what this is. This is a fine dining restaurant, and the cigar lounge they have there is super small, so it's not a lot of people in there." Rogers insisted that she had done everything she could to ameliorate the concerns, such as buying parcels of land around the restaurant to create additional parking, and even turning over security footage that police wanted when they investigated a shooting. Why they put near the nightclub, though? Y'all messy. The lady told y'all it's not a nightclub. Why y'all being messy? Anyway, across the street from Taste it's a nightclub across the street from Taste, my bad, called the Parlor Room. The bullets injured 8 people, and police reportedly found at least 30 casings outside. My gosh. What kind of shooting was that? Excuse me. Okay, now on this one, I'm gonna have to be on the tree side on this one. It sounds like y'all got other problems in the neighborhood. If y'all got a nightclub across the street from Taste that's having shootouts with 30, but y'all got bigger problems than Taste. Now, on this one, I'm going to have to say now, quote, we have hired extra security guards. We have got a noise court ordinance reader. We've got with the police to make sure that we have the exact same ordinance reader as they do. We've started closing earlier. We don't even have a DJ where we started off having a DJ. Braun and others conceded Taste is not the only bar on the street causing problems for residents. It's a different crowd, she said of the parlor room. It's a little more criminal of a crowd than Taste, but it's not as popular as Taste, and it has adequate parking, which Taste does not. Okay, well, that's fair. Liz Brister, the president of Downtown Jackson Partners, who lives in the neighborhood and has renovated homes there, said a nonprofit organization working on Fondren's economic development plan is looking at the need to rezone the area to encourage residential density. Doug Boone, the executive director of the Fondren Residents Foundation, claimed Taste has made no attempt to hear from the residents and had in fact misled them about the nature of its business from the start. Brenda Davis, a resident who moved to North Fondren in 1989 and decided to stay there after she retired in the late 2000s, said she hears booming bass and cars screeching every weekend. No communication may not be the word, she said, of the relations between the bar and residents, but no communication between the two that would cause a compromise. Ainsworth, the zoning administrator, said that she had witnessed the bar's patrons parking up and down the street, flouting no parking signs. Emily Pope, a planning board member representing Ward 7, asked who was supposed to hold the bar responsible for that, to which Ainsworth replied, the city. But sometimes people pay us no attention and they do whatever they feel is necessary for their survival. After the meeting, Braun said that her street has had problems over the years with loud establishments, including a spate of rave clubs about 20 years ago that was shut down after residents got the city council and the fire marshal involved. Okay. I love that building, and actually what they've done with it isn't bad, she said of Rogers' redesign. Braun said she doesn't know why bars or nightclubs have flooded to this area of town over the years, except for its excess vacant rental space. She believes the solution now is to sever the commercial and residential sides of North Fondren by closing off the street. I do think there could be a compromise, she said. She just was not interested in it. Braun said of Rogers, she could have talked to us today, but she didn't. And that is the article. So it sounds like Latrice ain't making, the neighbors are having problems with Latrice. Sound like her employees are having problems with Latrice. Now, I remember Akeisha saying that she lived in that neighborhood. It would be interesting if Akeisha was still on the show and maybe she would have a different point of view. Maybe she would have some insight, because I remember when they were talking about, what happened last season, Akeisha said she basically was, her house was, the house that they were renting was actually in walking distance from Taste. So yeah, y'all, it looks like Latrice got some problems with her neighbors down there. And it sounds like they have had power in the past and they have been successful in the past with shutting down businesses. That's what it sounds like, that they have been successful in the past with shutting down businesses. Now, again, I'm not saying they're going to shut her business down, but it does sound like she might want to tread lightly. It sounds like they want her to talk to them. The fact that she said she responded to the emails and they're saying, no, you didn't. So it sounds like she really just want that they were like, listen, sit down. Let's figure out a compromise. Let's come up with something. But it also does sound like Latrice has done things to try to accommodate the neighborhood. She said they don't have a DJ anymore. They've started closing earlier. I don't know. I'm not going to put all of this on Latrice, y'all. Now, that first one, that lawsuit sound crazy. But this, it sounds like there are people in the neighborhood who are having some serious issues about the business coming in. But it does sound like Latrice has tried to accommodate their concerns. Now, It doesn't sound like she's gone out of her way to be very friendly, but I don't know if she necessarily has to if she's addressing their issues, if she's closing earlier, if she no longer has a DJ, if she's has a noise thing to make sure that the noise level doesn't go above a certain point. She said she bought empty land to accommodate parking. It sounds like she's trying, y'all. Now, y'all know I give it to Latrice. Y'all know I give it to Latrice. But it does sound like she's trying, y'all. It really does. It really does. I ain't saying she's perfect and she's done everything perfect. But it does sound like she's trying. I mean, the fact that she bought some empty lots just to add parking, I don't know, y'all. I based on that article, it sounds like she's trying. But it does also sound like that the neighbors, they probably just need to rezone. They probably need to rezone. And they probably need to be very clear about what's residential and what's a business area. So, all right. So that's what that is, y'all. I see y'all back at 9:15-ish over on the Really Be TV review channel to talk about these Potomac ladies, honey. Y'all done had me live. I've been live all damn day. All day long I've been live. And I got other stuff I got to do. I got to eat my dinner and then I have to do some other things before we go live. But it don't matter. Y'all will see me at 9:15. Talk to y'all later. Peace.